All right, what's going on, everybody? We got another weekly Shonen Jump stream. Today, we're reacting to Oter of the Flame. I hope I said that right. Oter of the Flame. That's how I'm going to keep saying it. But Oter of the Flame, creator previously made Red Hood. Red Hood had a wonderful reception in the beginning. Lasted about 3 volumes, I believe, maybe 2 volumes. Was cut very short. Obviously, people felt that Red Hood, the art was really good. It had a ton of potential, but the pacing in the early part kind of held it back. Especially it had to compete with like Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero, Black Clover, all that stuff. This environment we're in right now is a lot more forgiving. Jujutsu Kaisen is out, My Hero is out, Black Clover, different magazine. One Piece is One Piece. We got Kagurabachi, which is still not like, you know, it's not going anywhere, but it's not like the dominant thing in Jump. We got Ichi the Witch, which is still pretty new. And then we got Exorcist Kyoshi, which is like, you know, people feel 50-50 on that one. So Oter of the Flame. Oter of the Flame has a lot of room to grow, a lot of room to potentially be like the next big thing in Shonen Jump. Excuse me. June 28th to I think November 4th it was, Eden says. I'm not sure of the dates. I just know it only had like 3 volumes and it ended right around, not like a tournament arc, but they had like a big test. They were called Hunters, I believe, in Red Hood, and you had to go through like a Hunter exam, believe it or not. And it was like right after that arc that they just came up with like a super whatever ending because it got cut. So yeah, I think it was like chapter 18, something like that, but it was like 2 or 3 volumes. I know that much. But Oter of the Flame, I'm super excited. So why do people like series creator is, be nice if they listed it. Oter of the Flame, Yuki Kawaguchi. So why do people like Red Hood? Why do people like Yuki Kawaguchi? And how does this translate to Oter of the Flame? So I talked about Red Hood. Yuki Kawaguchi not only created Red Hood, which people liked, but was an assistant to Kohei Horikoshi, who of course is the artist and writer of My Hero Academia. What stands out right away about their manga, of course, the art style. It is reminiscent of My Hero Academia, but it is clearly different. Yuki Kawaguchi has a different way they draw faces, different way they design characters, but generally speaking, there are some similarities with My Hero Academia and Horikoshi. So people like the art style. People like the characters Kawaguchi creates. The protagonists of Red Hood were really good, and the side characters were really cool too. Kawaguchi also has a style where they make these characters like with these big badass weapons. The paneling is good, the perspective is good, the fights are always awesome, and while it is action heavy, Kawaguchi also places a great bit of emphasis on unconventional fights. So not just fighting for the sake of fights, but fights with like problem solving, fights with puzzles, stuff like that. So it's got all the stuff people love about Shonen Jump, but Kawaguchi takes this very seriously and is clearly very passionate. That being said, I am super excited to read Oter of the Flame, and I'm curious to see what you all think. That being said, let's turn our way to chat. Sour says, I just read Oter of the Flame, and it is so good. I love the author's previous work, Red Hood. I hope this one doesn't get axed. Fingers crossed. We got Kagelo, Grace, Mabasa, who I always refer to as Grace. I'm really hyped to try this with y'all Shonen. Happy to see you again, Grace. I'm excited to read this for sure. We got Edens, of course. Justin Garcia, what's going on, Justin? Pleasure to have you. We got Toad Sage in the chat. Been a hot minute. How you doing, Toad Sage? We got Rudius in the chat. What's going on, Rudius? Justin says, I will say that I think Red Hood had a better chapter 1 than Odor of the Flame, but next few chapters will determine how the series will pan out. So what killed Red Hood was that it got very deep into the details, right? Like it was very like mind game-ish and like kind of forgot too much about that action. You need to be like basic at first and then get into that stuff. Red Hood was trying to be too different too soon. So if Odor of the Flame can just do like all the meathead stuff first and then flesh out, I think it's a home run. I like this artist Red Hood manga. It was a shame it ended early. I agree. Also, how you doing, audience? Pleasure to have you. Eden says, yeah, I'm excited off this first chapter. Like you said, this environment is more forgiving, so I'm really hoping this one sticks. Exactly. There's more potential. There's better odds for this one to stick around. I think Red Hood got into its exam too soon and killed its momentum. It wasn't so much that you can't do like an exam arc early. I mean, My Hero Academia did it. Black Clover kind of did it, sort of. And then, of course, notoriously Hunter x Hunter. It's more like what you put in the exam. Because the exams in My Hero were very straightforward. Nothing you haven't seen before. Hunter x Hunter, you know, exam arc was a bit different, but like also very action heavy. So if they're going to do that again, if Kawaguchi is going to do that again, you got to have some action. You got to have some meatheadery, which should totally be a word. I know it's not a word, but if I ever do t-shirts or like bookmarks, meatheadery will be somewhere on there for sure. We got Gamer Chan Leanne. What's going on, Gamer Chan Leanne? Rocking her silver loyalty badge, which is a great reminder. If you enjoy these chats, if you enjoy these streams, if you love coming to the stream to hang out, if you want some cool stuff to show off during the streams, make sure to become a channel member today. Recruit tier is just $2.99 a month. With the recruit tier, you get Dr. Stone custom loyalty badges. You get all kinds of custom Shonen Ouji emojis, all kinds of great stuff. You can even pick, with the other tiers, you can even pick which manga we read in streams, in videos. So if you want all that cool stuff and you love the streams, make sure to become a member today. All right, so I've been yapping for about 10 minutes. Let's read Odor of the Flame. So Odor of the Flame. Excuse me. So our context outside of the manga, as this manga has been marketed, it is a Viking Nordic themed manga with supposedly some cooking elements. Don't know what that means, but we're going to find out. The spirit warmed the warrior's freezing fingers and provided power. Thus the evil king fell, the warrior became a hero, and having fulfilled its duty, the spirit melted back into nature. So we have sort of a central myth of a spirit and a hero working together. Excuse me. And then after they beat this evil lord, evil king, the spirit sort of goes off back into nature, right? And then we have a panel supposedly depicting this battle. It's either different races, different clans, or different elements. We have like a red clan, a blue clan, a yellow element, which I'm guessing is the spirit. We have some kind of wind tribe or archery tribe. We have a giant tribe, it looks like. And then we have what I'm guessing is the ice tribe. I'm not sure. That's what it seemed like. There was like a big war against this evil demon lord. If I can, here we go. So we cut to the present. It is wintertime, supposedly. Jose says, what is with Japanese artists, authors obsessed with Red Riding Hood? I don't know so much about Red Riding Hood, but obviously Western mythology is pretty popular, so they like to draw Western myths, right? Like the Grimm tales. Anyway, so it's supposedly wintertime, shoveling snow off the house to clear the path. Usual winter stuff. We are introduced to our central character, Oder, supposedly. He says the calendar says it should be summer now, and yet, of course, it's snowing like crazy. Oder, thanks for helping me out. Here's your share, and it's some kind of guts, and I think that's what it looks like. I can't really tell. I appreciate it. Eat it with your little sister. You won't be seeing her for a while, right? So Oder has a sister. Welcome home and good morning. Her name is Sana. Call her Santa. Happy birthday. Are your fingers cold? So he's very worried about her. She's like, okay, give me some space. Leave me alone. We'll be eating good this year. Remember how you used to sulk, saying our meals were too small? This year we'll boil elk loin, in lingonberries. She says, Oder, is it true that you're going to the fortress? First of all, I would like to say, I know this is supposed to be like an old village, but bro, they're eating elk? That's hardcore, man. That's like, they're eating like steak, like filet mignon with lingonberries. I don't even know I know what a juniper berry is to all my fellow Skyrim nerds out there. I don't know what a lingonberry is. We got Mike T in the chat. What's going on, Mike T? Pleasure to have you. I think Kawaguchi really leveled up here. I don't know about leveled up, but it seems to be at least as good as Red Hood so far. So we have Oder and Sana. I keep flipping back and forth. I'm gonna say Sana. Is it true you're going to the fortress? Excuse me. I know you're a nice guy, but you can't say yes to every offer someone makes to you. This is different from hunting elk. I don't know, man. Elk are pretty scary. Ever see those things? They're like moose. They're like bulls. And besides, you don't have the guts to hurt someone. I'm only going to be a cook. Okay, so clearly a cooking theme. There's a Nordic theme, a Viking theme, but with cooking. Two of my favorite things. My duties will be keeping fires lit and warming up mead. Man, this is like Skyrim the manga. I love it. Skyrim the manga. I really wish I could fight as a warrior like our dad, but they said no children. Understandable. One winter many years ago, the Ice Kingdom began its war of aggression. It was as if the winter allied with them. The war went on for many years until all the crops of the once lush green forest kingdom died, and its ports froze over. So pretty typical Nordic theme, right? There's always like a ice troll kingdom or an ice kingdom. Those are always like the bad guys in Norse mythology. Then at some point, my little sister stopped making selfish requests. The tales of exceptional warriors are passed down through sagas even after their deaths. If I were a warrior and had the power to defeat the Ice Kingdom. And then it cuts off to them going to sleep the night before Oder is supposed to go off to this war. He says, sorry, no, the sister is already tucked in. He's putting together his armor. He says, sorry, I'm such an unreliable big brother. Aw, that's kind of sad. So they're getting ready. Interesting note. It looks like Oh, it looks like they have reindeer. So this would be like, so if we want to get technical, if we were to pin this to a specific country, this would be like Denmark, maybe? Which checks out. The Vikings started in like the Denmark area. Let me see. Because if they're using reindeer. Yeah, it'd be like Denmark. Denmark-ish. So that makes them Danish. I always mix up what they were called at the time before, because once the Nords sort of migrated, putting it politely, migrated into Europe, they took on like Nords and Normandy, right? The North people. But I think they would technically just be Danes at this point. But obviously, fictional universe, not real world, but it seems to be a bit of a Danish influence with the reindeer. Something worth noting. Everyone in the village is chipping in. It'll be cold at the fortress. Take this. Thanks for helping with my husband's funeral. Thank you, gift, for helping with the livestock, cleaning the chimney, drying the cut. So Oder is very much about service, right? Which, if you like cooking, that kind of goes hand in hand. He's all about service. He's all about making people happy. He just wants to be helpful, and he just wants to put smiles on people's faces, which I like. So kind of tease us up for what kind of protagonist he's going to be. So the sister greets her. She says, I had them give me some of the village's holy flame. So this could be like a religious thing, or this could be like a magic thing, or both. You told me a legend once, didn't you, about how some fire spirits sneeze chased out winter or something? That's all I can remember. It probably won't actually do anything, but I'm sure the spirit inside this will warm everyone up at least. So that could be a thing, right? This could be the spirit of the flame that we learned about in the beginning. We got Eddie Rayman in the chat. What's going on, Eddie? Pleasure to have you. Good to see you as always. How you doing today? So she does like a little half prayer. She says, may the spirits protect you. And he says, may the spirits protect you. Again, I like the Nordic culture. Excuse me. Red Hood was like very Brothers Grimm, but it didn't really have a culture so much. This has like a culture to it, which I like. It makes it feel a little more real, a little like a living, breathing world. A little more nuanced, I guess. So they have their army, and again, right, very keeping with Vikings, they have their ships and they're just carrying them on land to sea. That is something the Vikings did all the time. Even when they joined up in the Crusades and they went to Israel and Palestine, they literally carried their boats on their shoulders and walked on foot. It just goes to show how insane the Vikings were. Did I celebrate Mother's Day? Celebrate your mom on Mother's Day? Yes, I did. We got her cards, we got her flowers, made her feel extra special today, all that good stuff. Hopefully everyone as well had a great Mother's Day. So they're traveling quite some distance. Oder is wearing a big coat and some kind of helmet. Not like a full face helmet, but something to protect him at least. They're carrying the boats through the mountains. They finally get to water. They're stopping every so often. So this isn't like the Ice Kingdom is like right next door. Like it seems like they have to actually like cross the ocean. But they get to some old fortress. Looks like it's well defended. These are the herbs for the wounded. We have cargo, soldiers, ale. Somebody's already been shot at. He's been shot in the shoulder with an arrow, which is crazy. Then we have some old Viking, very cool beard, a braided beard, something a dwarf would have. He says, my door to Valhalla hasn't opened yet. So of course, right, still keeping in character with Nordic culture. Oder gets called. There's some lady with like dyed hair, kind of. She says, hurry up and get in the kitchen. Don't stray from your battlefield. This is like a classic Kawaguchi character. Tall, muscular woman, but she's got like an anime face. That was Kawaguchi's thing in Red Hood. He loved drawing muscular women with anime faces. She's eating a smoked fish. No utensils, just getting right into it like a chicken leg. She says, I'm Alajoki. Alajoki? Alajoki, I'll go with. The captain of this fortress. Nice to meet you, cook. Warm mead is this fortress's lifeline. Make sure you never let the fires go out, but you need to rotate the firewood. So his job is to keep mead warm. So basically, at that point, it would be like alcoholic hot apple cider, which honestly sounds amazing. I've never had warm mead, but I've had mead. You can get mead at wine stores or liquor stores. It is delicious. If you live in the New England area, there's a company out of Ipswich that you can get it from. So she asks why Oder is blowing on the flame as opposed to using a whatchamacallit, and he's like, oh, it just feels like good luck. Zahand Man says, what manga are you reading? We are reading Oder of the Flame, the brand new weekly Shonen Jump manga. We are on, obviously, chapter 1, page 16, if you want to follow along, right on the Shonen Jump website, also on Manga Plus. So Alajoki, is that her name? Alajoki explains, breath is part of the soul. That's why your crest starts to hurt, or your chest, excuse me, starts to hurt when you run, and why the dead stop breathing. So we could, I don't want to spoil myself here, so nobody spoil it for me, but we could get like a Skyrim thing going on here, because they're already talking about breathing and like your soul being in your breath and your breath having power. I don't know about dragon shouts necessarily, but we could get a bit of a dragonborn thing going on here. Fingers crossed. At least that's what a shaman told me once. In any case, they say breath has some magical significance to it. Don't let it swallow everything up and kill you. He says, may I have a sword? Oder asks for a sword. He says, my father died on the battlefield and journeyed to Valhalla. I want to fight as a warrior too. Everyone's risking their lives and fighting. If I stay back here and let others protect me the entire time, how will I ever be able to face my father? Although I suppose if I die as a cook, I won't be able to see him at all. Of course, to get into Valhalla, you need to have a proper warrior's death. So the idea would be if you just heat up mead and make bread all day, not exactly a warrior's death. She says, of course you will. Whether you're a cook or an armor polisher, everyone on a battlefield is a warrior. So I like Alajoki. Hopefully she sticks around, but fingers crossed, right? She says, live, fight, and die. Cook. So the enemies are attacking. The Ice Kingdom is upon us. And we get this beautiful spread of, it looks like zombies, ice trolls, different degrees of ice trolls. They also have like some kind of woolly mammoth. They have ice giants. And then they have this ice demon looking creature. who's leading them with some kind of crazy war axe. So basically what I'm getting is Odor of the Flame is going to be Skyrim the manga. Because as much as I love as much as I love Vinland Saga isn't really a fantasy. Skyrim is a fantasy. So I love Skyrim. I love ancient culture in general, but I love ancient mythology. So, and this is different from like your typical anime fantasy. This is like Nordic themed. TLDR, I am so ready for this to be like my new favorite manga. Excuse me. Just jotting something down here. Excuse me. Hoping we get an elemental dragon at some point. Well, elements seem to be a thing because they're talking about like breathing and the soul, and there's like the fire spirit, and then there's the ice kingdom. So elements seem like they're going to play a part in the story at some point. But again, I have to finish the chapter. That's pretty cool. A dragon shout is always awesome. Doesn't even have to be like dragon shouts, but like if there's like a magic system with your voice, not like breathing, but like your voice, because Demon Slayer, it was breathing, but it wasn't your voice, right? The cool thing about dragon shouts is it's your voice, right? Like you have to shout, not just like breathe, but shout. So if they can cast magic by shouting, it doesn't even have to be like dragon shouts, but like if you can like do fire spells by shouting, that would be badass. Anyway, so they're fighting all these ice giants and ice trolls. How did they get into the fortress? They dug tunnels through frost columns in the ground and sent a squad inside. So this is not a mindless army. This is an army capable of some pretty nefarious strategy. And on top of that, it looks like they can zombify the fallen soldiers, which is no good. Some beautiful panels of all the action, which of course I cannot show on stream. Not that I would, but looks gorgeous. Loving it so far. And then of course we get a confirmation that there is magic. Alajoki, right? That's her name. Alajoki. She says the enemy commander, the one with like a demon crown, says he's using ice curses to tie souls to corpses and control them. So there is a magic system, and it does have an elemental theme to it. Blue Diamond the Gamer just subscribed. Thank you, Blue Diamond. Welcome to the channel. So someone captured Odor. So they're done. They're screwed. They got wiped out, right? So he's captured by some giant troll, two-headed creature thing. They destroy the fire. They destroy all their rations and everything. Everyone is wiped out. The bonfires have all been destroyed. Captain Beesbull. So that is the demon guy with the demon crown. Victory is ours. Freeze them all. Turn them into more fodder for our army. So they have ice breath, right? Some kind of... Yeah, ice breath. So again, looks like breathing is going to be a thing. Or shouts are going to be a thing. But then Alajoki comes out of nowhere. Kills this ice troll with her axe. She gets frozen by the ice troll, saving Oder. So now Oder looks like he's screwed, right? He's trying to get up. He's seeing everyone get wiped out and frozen to death. He says, "Am I going to die too? If I die on the battlefield, I'll go to Valhalla." He says, "By dying, I can save Sana," which again is kind of depressing, right? Like, this kid really doesn't live for himself at all. But then we cut back to the previous night, or the night before he left. Sana says, "I won't stop you from going to the battlefield. I know you want to be a warrior, but don't try to accomplish something through death. Through death, the tales of warriors are passed down through sagas. That may be true, but didn't you also tell me this once? The sagas of the warriors who survived their battles and went on long journeys are the most epic and entertaining ones. Next time, I want you to tell me your own saga. I'll listen to it until the sun comes up if that's what it takes." So this is kind of like, this is a lot like Mad, the Jump Plus series, or more popular Fire Punch. There's like a theme of like wanting to die, but then the sister is like, "Hey, maybe don't die. Maybe just don't die a little bit." We have Morrow Cat in the chat. Hello, Morrow Cat. Vinland Saga is a saga, but it's more magical for sure. Hope Odor of the Flame can run longer. I hope Odor of the Flame sticks around for a while, because already I'm loving it. Chapter 1 so far, I still have like 20 pages to go, but so far I'm loving this chapter. We also have Aishin in the chat. What's going on, Aishin? The art is so breathtaking. Only the first chapter, and in my opinion, the best art in Manga Plus app right now, along with Dawn to Dawn and Kagurabachi. It's definitely up there. I'd say it's up there with Kagurabachi, Kyoshi, and Ichi the Witch, for sure. Different style than those manga, but just as good, if not better. Which brings up a concern of mine, but we'll get into that towards the end of the chapter. Anyway, so Beesbull is this ice demon's name. So he comes upon Oder, who has now ripped off his shirt. He's like, "All right, what's this guy doing?" He's holding on to a flame. He's burning his own clothes. He says, "If you lost your mind, you'll freeze to death." He says, "No, I won't. As long as I have fire, I can melt everyone. I won't die, and I won't let anyone else die. I don't need to become a hero. I don't need people to pass my tales down. I just need to leave this flame behind. That's all. This is my battle." This demon lord is like, "Okay, this kid's kind of creepy. I should just kill him." He says, "You'll never accomplish anything." He hands him off to this crab monster. This ice kingdom has got some crazy monsters going. Apparently they have a mud crab that took some steroids. Anyway, Oder puts his hand to the flame. He says, "Holy flame, I'll give you both my soul and my body. Just warm everyone else's bodies for me." He says, "Burn bright and may the spirits protect you." Sends some kind of magic towards this crab monster. He breathes and he cuts the crab monster like a cross section, just whoosh, destroys him. So he got some kind of power boost. And now he seems to have this crazy fire sword. Gorgeous double spread on pages 42 and 43. You have like the weak little boy Oder, but then he's got this badass Dark Souls 3 looking fire sword, literally raining with embers. So obviously the ice demon is freaking out because he's like, what are they doing? All right. And of course they're weak to fire. So he's like, I can't get near this guy. And the fire starts talking. The sword starts talking. It says, thanks for sharing some of your life with me. He's like, are you a fire spirit? And he goes, well, that's what humans call me. I was born from the life you breathed into me, though extremely primitive magic. Sorry, I don't really understand it either. Basically, I'm a baby. He says, okay, but I'm not a sorcerer, so what's going on? He says, I know. You're a warrior, which means your duty is to what? Okay, that's an awkward panel there. This is my thanks for giving me some of your life. Now I'm sharing my life with you too. So now he's got this badass fire armor. He's got a fire shield, fire sword, fire cloak, fire shoes, fire everything. Deserving of the name Odor of the Flame. All right, so they got their Draugr army. He says, kill him. So Odor does like a big fire slash attack. He sends everyone to Valhalla. So he killed all the Draugr that got possessed by the ice demon. He says, I'm going to make you pay for what you've done. You meddled with the proud deaths of warriors and defiled souls that should have gone straight to Valhalla. Our ideals clash, but you're a warrior too, so I'll send you to Valhalla. Another gorgeous double spread, I should say, on pages 48 and 49, literally burning the page with his attack. I mean, gorgeous, gorgeous chapter. Honestly, I think someone said it earlier in the stream, but I mean, this is better than Red Hood, and honestly, this is better than some of the stuff in Each of the Witch, which is saying a lot. So I'll save it until I finish the chapter, but I have some thoughts. So he attacked the ice demon, destroyed him. He saves everyone. The sorcerer is dead. The curse is broken. The Draugr are defeated, so they go to Valhalla, presumably. They sent the army away, so now the fortress is saved. But then, just as this is happening, the fire spirit comes to life, and it looks like a girl. She says, it's been so long since I moved around. My name is Filgia? Filgia. I'm going to guess Filgia. From here on out, I'll live and fight with you. Let's end this endless winter once and for all. He goes, why? So Odor goes, why did you choose me? And she goes, I don't know. I really didn't choose anything suddenly. I was just burning inside of you, but I think I might know why. I've taken a liking to your warm heart. Those who seek death can't add more kindling to their stoves. Your heart was the warmest one on that battlefield, and I think that's all there is to it. You are a warrior who has been chosen by a spirit, Odor. He says, chosen by a spirit sounds like a line right out of a saga. And then he passes out and everyone's like, okay, time to take this boy home. And then that's it. So I thought that was I think that's a perfect first chapter. I would give this 8 out of a 10, possibly a 9 out of a 10 for a first chapter. So I have some thoughts, but let me check out chat. The double spreads are beautiful. You can definitely see the Horikoshi there. You can see Horikoshi influences, but this is clearly a distinct art style. If anything, I would say Kawaguchi likes to go more anime with the faces. They're more chibi-like, I guess. Really feels like something that you would see in Jump Plus. Like, it looks a lot like the faces in Centauria. Really great, and there probably are other sorcerers, maybe even actual ice trolls. I'm not really sure. So the whole thing is they want to end the winter so far, right? So presumably the big bad is like the Ice Kingdom. But if we go back to the very beginning in that first panel, it looks like there was like a team up of either different kingdoms or different elements. There's like a fire person, a ice person, a water person, a wind person, a giant for some reason, and then some golden eye. So I'm not too sure where the story is going to go exactly. It seems like it has a clear direction so far. So, what do I like about Odor of the Flame? I love the art style. Obviously, the paneling was awesome. The action scenes are great. It seems like it has a really interesting and engaging power system with the breathing and the elements. It also stands out because it's like fantasy, but not just like medieval fantasy. It's like Nordic culture, so it stands out from like Ichi the Witch, right? And other fantasy manga and Jump. Odor seems like a nice protagonist. I think a lot of people might get bored with him because he's kind of like a Deku, where he just wants to help everyone, right? Like a Tanjiro. What I think is gonna win him over with people is how he changes in the next 10 or 20 chapters, and specifically how his motivation changes, because his motivation right now is just he wants to help people, he wants to protect people. But how his motivation becomes a central part of the story will make or break his success as a popular main character. I've always said this regarding assistants in manga. They can be inspired by their predecessors and show their own voice, or they would parallel their mentors and imitate, and Kawaguchi just showed his voice. 100% agree. Kawaguchi, it was true in Red Hood as well, but especially in Odor of the Flame, clearly has their own voice. So I like Odor, I like the art, I like the power system so far. I love the world of Odor of the Flame. I especially love all the monsters and the designs. That was something about Red Hood that was cool as well, all the freaky monsters. So what do I think Odor of the Flame needs to do next? It needs to have a clear roadmap, and it needs to make immediate progress towards or on that roadmap. So a problem with Red Hood was like we had a basic roadmap, which was like, it was something like solving the mystery of who got murdered by the monsters or something like that. But it like never really went anywhere in those first 3 volumes. So Odor of the Flame, even right now, does not have a clear roadmap. Like, the only clear objective of this story is like stop the winter, but it needs to sort of carve that out a bit more. Like, what does ending the winter look like? Like, who? It needs a big bad. It needs like an enemy. It seems like it's gonna be the Ice Kingdom, but I'm not sure. It could be like a demon army that isn't just the Ice Kingdom. Although presumably if there's a long winter and that's going to be the end goal, you would think the Ice Kingdom is going to be like the big bad. So we need a better, more concrete idea of the direction of this story. Otherwise, I think we're going to get into the same pacing problems early on. And then towards that goal, we need immediate progress by the end of the first volume. Somehow, some way. Whether it's Oder like becoming a soldier in the army, or Oder getting like a magic sword, or Oder making like his own party of adventurers, whatever it is. Because that was a problem with Red Hood, is like we never really made any real progress in those 3 volumes. So that's step number 1. That's like objective number 1, I guess. Excuse me. The other, so I guess it's really 3 things, but 2 and 3 are kind of the same thing. Well, it's like 3 or 4 things. So, world building for, or roadmap for the plot. Another thing I already kind of talked about. Oder needs like a motivation that sort of evolves, and a motivation that people can get behind. Because generally speaking, he's like, not boring, but like he's like the good boy protagonist, which isn't always popular unless you have an interesting motivation. So that's 2. 3 is we really need to flesh out this dynamic between Oder and Flingal. What is her name? Fylgja. Fylgja is her name. Fylgja and Oder need to have like a rock solid chemistry, because they're the 2 driving characters of the story. So if their chemistry sucks, then people are going to be really annoyed or just feel like distracted whenever Fylgja is on screen, right? How Kawaguchi does this, I don't know. I don't particularly have a stake in that. I just know that like this dynamic needs to be fleshed out, because it feels like it should be a big part of the story. And then lastly, in addition to all those things, after all those things, we need some really good side characters, right? Naruto, Team 7, Black Clover, you have all the captains and all that, right? One Piece, you got the Straw Hats. We need like a good party or something to that effect. There's potential already, but that was slightly a problem in Red Hood as well. We had like a good core of like 3 characters, but it was really just our 2 main characters. And that wasn't a big problem with Red Hood, but it was like one problem among other big problems. Black Clover, Black Bulls, exactly. He could have, so Oder could have self-doubts, and I keep forgetting her name. Fylgja, I'm saying Fylgja, I don't actually know if that's how you're supposed to say it. Fylgja could be encouraging. Yeah, so she clearly seems like she's going to be like the fun, energetic one, and he's going to be kind of the laid back one. But there does need to be some kind of give and take, so it's not just a unilateral relationship. Like, it's got to be not a complex relationship, but again, give and take. Him seeing dark and cruel stuff and being challenged and having a crisis before bouncing back. That could be, if you're talking about motivation, I guess, but it needs to be something a little more concrete, like a goal, right? A goal. Eden says, I'm hoping we'll get a map showing where the village is. Keeping his sister safe could be a good motivation, stopping any danger from getting near. Again, it all depends on like what this story is going to be plot-wise, because if the plot is we need to go into the Ice Kingdom and stop them for good, then that's one thing. But if it's like we need to defend our borders or something like that, that's another thing. So again, that's why I feel like getting a better idea of what this story is going to be and where it's headed is going to make everything else so much better. And obviously that's not going to happen right away in chapter 1. This is already following the same basic pattern as like Ouji the Witch, right? Ouji the Witch chapter 1 was all about just getting the power. That's all chapter 1 is, establishing the main character and getting the power. We really didn't have our central goal or like our big A-plot motivation until chapter 18, right? It wasn't until chapter 18 where we found out what Ichi's like end game is. So somewhere in the first like 15 chapters ish, we need something to that effect. But on the way, we need like, it needs to feel like we're making progress and we're not just constantly doing side quests. Side quests can come like later on when we're like heavy into the plot and we need a break, but it shouldn't be like Red Hood where like every chapter for the first 2 volumes just feels like a random side quest. Is Second Time the Charm, do you think it can be the next big Shonen Jump manga? So it's a fantasy, which people always love. It's got the Nordic thing going on, so it stands out from the myriad other fantasy manga and like magic manga. It's got the potential for a really cool power system, which that always like makes or breaks a shonen manga, is like how good is the power system. Again, I really just think it's going to come down to pacing and characters, because everything else is like a 10 out of 10 if you ask me. Were I to sort of throw a dart prospectively and guess where it's going to land, I would say so far this has all the potential to be right up there with Galaxius, Gachi Akuta, Dawn to Dawn, because this first chapter is just as good as the first chapter in all of those manga. I would even say I like this first chapter better than the first chapter of Gachi Akuta. I'd say it's just as good as the first chapter of Galaxius. About as good as the first chapter of Dawn to Dawn. So yeah, I think it has all the potential in the world to be the next big series in Shonen Jump. But of course, because Shonen Jump is a weekly magazine and they love to slice and dice, we got to kind of keep our fingers crossed for the first like 4 volumes, like chapter 30-ish. That'll be like that first big act. And then after that, if it makes it to like chapter 100, we're golden. So Kawaguchi worked on, or did Red Hood, worked on My Hero Academia, apparently worked on Samurai 8, Earthchild, and A Gravity Boys? Interesting. Oh, are you talking about the editor? Anyway. So a possible motivation is he loses to a strong person and then he has to get stronger. True, that could be it. It's going to depend on like what the nature of the big bad is, which we haven't really met yet. We just kind of got like a tease for basically what the story looks like. This was more of like a pilot than like a proper first chapter, I guess. A bit of both. Interesting. Okay. Wobble Agent just subscribed. Welcome, Wobble Agent. Welcome to the channel. Pleasure to have you. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about Odor of the Flame. So we're in May. So by 2026, it will presumably be 30 chapters long. So by 2026, I think we'll know what kind of place this manga has in Jump and what its future will look like. So if it can survive the summer and the fall, I think it's golden. It's got to survive 2 quarters, I guess, or 2 seasons. So I want to look. Let's go to Shonen Jump. We got One Piece. Kagurabachi isn't going anywhere. One Piece obviously isn't going anywhere. Sakamoto Days has like another 80-ish chapters, because 300 is like the golden number. Maybe like another 100 chapters. So Sakamoto Days isn't going anywhere. Ichi the Witch definitely isn't going anywhere. Shinobi Undercover. Kyoshi, I don't know, man. Kyoshi, as much as I love Kyoshi, I feel like every day with Kyoshi, every week with Kyoshi is rolling the dice. Witch Watch probably has like another 50 to 100 chapters. Kane Banashi, maybe like another 30 to 50 chapters, I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with Embers. I stopped reading that one. We also have Nice Prison, which I don't know. I would say the odds are in Odor of the Flame's favor so far, but we need to see how it does over the next few volumes, what those volume sales look like. So volume 1 is super important, but then also like volumes 2 and 3. We need to look at how the sales are, and then also like, yeah, copies in circulation as well. Like how much, that'll be a big test of like how much faith they have in that series. Color pages are another big thing. We got Soul in chat. What's going on, Soul? Soul, if you haven't read the chapter yet, read Odor of the Flame. It is basically Skyrim and or Elden Ring, the manga. I love it, and it has every bit of my hope to be one of my all-new favorite series. I don't think Kyoshi is bad, but with every passing week, I feel like it's starting to get a bit stale. I don't think it's getting stale, but I just feel like it's the new Black Clover, where people not only hate this manga, but they want to hate it. Like, people do not want to like Kyoshi. So Kyoshi is, I just think Kyoshi is doomed to fight an uphill battle constantly. Even if it goes for 300 chapters, I think people will still call for it to be axed. I think TES. Oh, the Elusive Samurai. There we go. Elusive Samurai is getting there for sure at 200 chapters. And BB. Is that Blue Box? Where's Blue Box? I don't know, man, because Shonen Jump doesn't really have like a big romance series, and as much as I don't like Blue Box, that's kind of their big romance series. So I feel like they're going to want to drag that one out. But again, I don't read Blue Box, so I don't know. We're in a weird spot where a lot of these manga are at like the chapter 200 mark. So, I mean, if typically a manga goes for like 300 chapters, that means we could have a bunch of manga all ending in like a year or two. So I don't know. Blue Box is probably getting close to its end. That's crazy. So that means Shonen Jump is going to need a new romance series. Because as much as it is like a comedy and action heavy magazine, you need like one good romance series, which Witch Watch kind of serves that purpose to an extent, but it's not like a pure like romance series, which, to be fair, I can't really remember the last time Shonen Jump has had like a pure, like not explicit, but like a pure, like very clearly a romance series. But it's always had like something with a lot of romance. The romance series is Himiten. Yeah, but Himiten, I've heard mixed things about Himiten. Not that it's bad, but I feel like some people think it's not going anywhere, and some people feel like it's only a matter of time before it gets axed. I don't know. I haven't checked it out yet. I need to check it out soon. But my point being, if Blue Box goes, they're losing not only a big sports manga, but a big romance manga. Romance is hardly ever a factor when it comes to shonen manga. Not true. 100% not true. Romance was, although always implied, it was a big part of My Hero Academia. And also, it's an important demographic because a lot of people prefer romance manga. I mean, look at Weekly Shonen Magazine. If you go to Weekly Shonen Magazine, their lineup is The Cafe Terrace and Its Goddesses, Rent a Girlfriend. All right, so there's two. It's got at least two. All right. And Rent a Girlfriend is like, what is it, like 400? No, it's almost 400 chapters, if I'm not mistaken. What about Weekly Shonen Champion? I don't recognize any romance manga in Weekly Shonen Champion. What about Weekly Shonen Sunday? Weekly Shonen Sunday. Not recognizing anything either. You always need at least one big one. I'm trying to think, what magazine is Girlfriend in? Girlfriend, Weekly Shonen Magazine, is it over? Oh, it ended already. It ended 2023. Okay. Well, it was in Weekly Shonen Magazine. What was Nagatoro in? Nagatoro. Oh, was that completely digital? Well, again, that was another Kodansha one. What about My Dress Up Darling? Young Gangon? Gangon? However you say that one. Point being, you always need one big romance series. Because, I mean, look at how mainstream romance anime become, right? Komi-san, Nagatoro, Dress Up Darling, a bunch of stuff. Sidcraft is the one that's looking shaky. Yeah, I haven't really heard anyone talking about Sidcraft. Shinobi Undercover and Hematen just got parodied in Roboco, so that says something. True. To be frank, lots of female audiences do read shonen manga, so adding a romance can be a possible marketing strategy. It's not even necessarily female readers, but just people who like romance. But it is true, a lot of readers of Shonen Jump are women, girls. The author for Girlfriend is coming back to Weekly Shonen Magazine in a couple of weeks. Who is it doing the stepsister manga? Is that the author of Girlfriend, or is that the author of Rent-A-Girlfriend? Because I know one of them is doing it. I just can't remember who. Joey is getting married? Well, good for Joey. Yeah, so anyway, the whole reason I bring up the romance manga thing, the Rent-A-Girlfriend author, God, that'll be, talk about nightmare fuel. That'll be a manga that everyone will hate on for sure. And then you'll have the elites that are like, oh my God, it's such a psychological, such a philosophical masterpiece, right? All the same people who stan Oshinoko. Anyway, yeah, so the whole reason I went on the romance manga tangent was to say that Shonen Jump is going to be in an interesting spot over the next couple of years because they have a lot of manga that are all about the same length, that have all been around for a while now, like 3-4 years. And they also have a lot of manga that all basically just started at the same time. Shinobi Undercover, Ichi the Witch, Kagurabachi as well, Kyoshi, and now Odor of the Flame. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think there's going to be any like dramatic cuts in the next year or so, but come 2 years when all of these manga are like 300 chapters long, we're going to start seeing some big cuts, possibly another big exodus of manga. And I bring this up to say, I think Odor of the Flame and most of these new manga are safe for at least a couple of years, for at least a few years. But we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, we've been streaming for an hour now. Usually, I would read our other chapters, but it's been an hour. I need to get working on YouTube videos. And I spent a whole lot of time talking about Odor of the Flame, which, if you're wondering, do I like Odor of the Flame? I think I've made my case pretty clear at this point. And that was really the big talking point today anyway. Odor of the Flame. Is it good? Do I like it? What's the potential? And we accomplished that. So really, I'm happy. I'm golden. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. So everyone can go enjoy the rest of their Mother's Day. So tomorrow is Don't worry, I'm gonna say my line. Don't you worry, Jose. I want to do a Gachi Akuta stream because I just caught up to the manga. I don't know if I want to do that tomorrow or Thursday. I think what I'll do, I think we'll sort of rank the newer manga in Shonen Jump. We'll do like a mini tier list tomorrow. And then Thursday we'll do our Gachi Akuta discussion. I think that's what we'll do. So yeah, stream tomorrow. Exciting videos this week for sure. I'm really, in particular, I'm excited about the one dropping what should be Tuesday, if not Thursday. Stream Thursday, and then another big video this weekend. Excuse me. So that's pretty much it. Thanks everybody. Thanks for checking out Odor of the Flame with me and sharing